So, what is going on, guys? Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Sideburn. And Sideburn here is a repaint by pure technicality of Shadow Striker from Legacy Evolution. More like Shadow Striker was the pre-paint to Sideburn. That mold was so clearly meant to be Sideburn, it was actually unbelievable. And as far as this mold goes, what is up with it? It is considered probably one of the worst ones to come out of that line. And it's semi-understandable, although I really don't hate this thing. It's weird to say, but I actually kind of like it. It's a little strange. The figure is mostly hated just due to the weird wonkiness of it, like how the shoulders work are completely out of whack, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's also a parts former, which, again, makes semi-sense for Shadow Striker, but this character is one of those weird ones where a lot of the car bits end up as, like, weapons, so clearly the shield. The shield is optional. You don't have to remove the shield. The only part you technically have to remove is the rear bumper. That's really it, and other than that, it's pretty standard affair. The new head sculpt looks great, and it's the only new aspect of this figure. Otherwise, Shadow Striker is the same thing, but purple. The new head does look great, though, with kind of the nice translucent yellow, and then everything else is just painted very nicely. Paint's very good, except for the fact of how easy it's chipping down here on the knees, because they peg in there. Yeah, that peg's not going to last long. We already are seeing chipping, and I've only owned him for like a week, which is quite a shame. And why did I pick him up? I don't know. I was just like, you know what, screw it. I want to get him because I actually don't hate this mold as much as most people do. It's a weird relationship. I have a weird affinity for it. Turning it around, it's not super kibbly. It does have the wheels and these back here, but I like to see these as like a cape for some reason. So I kind of always see him in an odd light of having a shield and a cape, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. So he has this giant translucent yellow riot shield that should be pinned and not friction pegged, but it's friction pegged. Nice. Yeah, what a beautiful friction peg that is. It does have a peg hole there if you'd want to plug the bumper in, I guess. And he does have this nice large white weapon that can have this plugged into it. Otherwise, it just looks like that. Kind of a weird looking gun, honestly, otherwise, but pretty much it's there to emulate the original toy having the bumper cannon, which is nice. The paint on the chest is great. I mean, overall looks really nice. But as far as the articulation goes, how is that? He has a ball joint in the head, which is pretty good. And now we have the controversial thing, which is the shoulders. So they move forward quite easily. Move out, sideways, like that. So to get outward motion, you need to hinge it in an odd way. So if you want like semi-forward and going out, you have to hinge it, which is a little strange, but it's there. It does have swivel, elbow, wrist rotation. He does have a waist swivel, forward and back. The doors here move out of the way, so that's why I kind of see them like a cape in a way, which I think is kind of cool. Swivel, knee joint, ankle tilt, and of course he does have a bit of a forward, not really much of a back though. All right, in the articulation department, it's really just the shoulders that are kind of messing them up, honestly. If I'm being completely real with you, it's just those shoulders being really wonky and where they're placed. If they were like right here, we'll show it on this side. If they were like right here, it'd be fine. If they were right there, or like just came out a little bit farther, or maybe they swung into place or something, be 10 times better than what we have here. But that's his only real issue, in my opinion. Otherwise, the robot's pretty good. I actually don't mind it. So let's just get into the transformation, which isn't as fiddly as Shadow Striker. Shadow Striker had very bad tolerances for me, but he does not, surprisingly. As per usual with the second run figures, they always end up with the good tolerances. So first thing we're going to do, fold out the chest like so. You're going to fold out those panels there, come in underneath, and there is another panel that's kind of folded away in there. It's a little hard to get out sometimes. There we are. And then from there, fold the back out like so on this giant arm. Take his feet, fold them out like so. Take the arms, fold them up, and fold the doors out while you're at it. Just slightly hit the camera. From there, take the legs and fold them back. Like so. And they do tab in a couple of points on the bottom. So just kind of tab everything in down there. Couple tabs. There we are. And then take the legs here and fix the front end down like so. And then you can take the doors and also close them around. Take the arm that doesn't have the windshield on it and put that down first. Make sure the peg hole is pointing upward. And from there, you can actually store the gun inside. You're technically not supposed to, but there's room, and there's plenty of it. So I always tend to do this. It's a little finicky, but it can get it in there. There we are. See, there it is. Anyway, the next step is to take the arms here and rotate that around. It is on a hinge. So just set that in place. And then take this. Make sure you straighten out the whole top of the car mode and peg it into place. And there we have it. You're then going to take the rear section here, and that's going to peg in at the back, also using the main peg for the gun. And here we have Sideburn's alt form, which is nothing close to his actual one. It's a weird little car, man. It's a car. It doesn't look that bad. Just the front's a little odd. Like, why is this, like, bulge out? They didn't paint the headlights, which is also strange. I'm pretty sure he was like a Corvette, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Like a Corvette-looking car. I might be wrong on that. But it's really strange, and they have the engine block there, which is supposed to be there, and the flames. The rear wheels are bigger than the front wheels. For some reason. The rear end also has no paint. It's just weird. And, I mean, it rolls quite nicely, actually. And, I mean, as a car, I mean, it works. It's not a bad car mode, but it's not really accurate, if we're being honest with you. And for some reason, the translucent yellow, which I didn't mention, has, like, glitter in it. I don't know what's going on with them. They really just were, like, doing this to do it at that point. Like, he's weird. He's just kind of an odd little car man. I don't know why they did the larger wheel at the back. That's the weird one. Why is this wheel so much larger than that one? And could they do a red repaint of him? Will they do a red repaint of him? Maybe, if they're feeling lazy. Will we get his two brothers? I actually highly doubt we'll get them. I really have no faith in them giving us the other two. No faith. But that is the alternate form, so let's just get to the final thoughts on them. And as far as it goes for issues and stuff, I mean, it's not as bad. Shadow Striker, I hated that thing. I hated that thing with a burning passion, except for the design of it. But this guy fixed all of the issues I had with Shadow Striker, because my Shadow Striker was just like, it would not peg together in the slightest. The thing would not go. I don't know why. The figure just would not peg together in the alt form. The roof wouldn't peg in. It was a whole thing. It just sucked. But this guy doesn't have that issue, and I can kind of enjoy the figure a little more. The paint job also really helps, because blue and white is a really nice paint job. It's just a really good, clean paint job, and I have no issues with it. Like, none at all. It's just a great little paint job. Is the shoulder thing odd? Yes. His whole thing, I think, is with the shoulders. That's probably the worst aspect of this version of the figure. I think the color scheme looks great. The robot mode looks good standing on a shelf, and I mean, he is posable. I don't think he's that bad to pose, even with the weird arm limitation. I mean, I don't hate him. I just don't hate him. It's weird. I did not like Shadow Striker that much, but Sideburn's a completely different ballgame. The only thing I will say is his hips are paint chipping at a rapid rate, which really sucks, because to transform him, you can't really be delicate with it because of how he pegs together. It's really kind of haphazard. So I guess is another thing. As a figure, is he great? Not 100%. The alt mode is something. The transformation's not interesting. It can be a little fiddly at times, especially with how the legs work. But other than that, I mean, he's all right. I think he's an all right figure. I'm going to give him a 3.5 out of 5. That's what I'm going to give him. And I think that that's a fair enough grade, because he is definitely better than Shadow Striker, who I probably should have put in the review, just because they're the same thing, but we'll save her for a later date. But that's basically it for this review. So this has been my review of Transformers Legacy United Sideburn. This has been Delete signing out. I forgot to say something. Happy New Year's. Because guess what? This is the last review of the year. Womp, womp, womp. The next videos probably aren't going to be reviews. Just going to say that now. They're probably going to be the countdown of top 10 best. I'm not sure if I'll do worst or not. I don't really dislike anything that much.